Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Dominate Your Market, See What's New with your MAPS coach, Jackie Kravitz. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you'll automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's coaching call or coaching program, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's fasttrack@kw.com. All right, Jackie, that's all for me. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Jasmine. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hang around with me here for about 45 minutes. We're going to take on this webinar today. And if you have not heard of Dominate Your Market before, I have been coaching this group program, and that's the title of it, for MAPS for I was looking at it today. It looks like maybe 8 or 9 years or even a little bit longer. And I have recently updated, and I am continuing. I'm still working on updating the final calls that we're going to have. And I want to give you today, at the end of our call, some information on Dominate Your Market. My goal for today is to give you a lot of tools, ideas, scripts, and mindset that you can take away with you from this webinar today and actually start creating some production very, very quickly for you. So what I would like to ask you right now, if you can type in the question box. I have these 2 questions for you, and I would like you to rate yourself and type in there for me, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being, I am great at this, how would you rate your skill in overcoming objections and closing for appointments when you are lead generating? You're over the phone or you are door knocking, you're lead generating, looking for listing appointments, and you hear objections. Can you rate yourself and let me know how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd like to see a few responses, please. You guys know how to type it in? Wow, I see a 10 here. I see some in betweens. Yeah. So here's the next question. Even when you're highly skilled at overcoming objections and setting appointments, there will be many conversations where it's going to end up turning into a lead for you, and a lead being someone who you're going to have to follow up. You're going to have to talk to them again in order to set an appointment. So how would you rate your systems and your skills in following up on your leads and setting appointments? You know, this whole lead follow-up, there are so many holes in the lead follow-up systems and the skills, the conversations to set appointments. So would you rate yourself on that for me real quick and type it in for me? On the lead follow-up side of it now. May I see? No, I see some responses here. I'm just not sure. Okay, on lead follow-up, got it. Okay. I know there's a lot of room for improvement here. I see some 1s, 2s, 3s, and I think the highest I see is an 8 on lead follow-up. Definitely a lot of room for improvement. Why do I ask you this question right in the beginning of our webinar today? Because I am going to give you a lot of tools and scripts to take away with you today, and yet that's what Dominate Your Market is about. Great listing agents, they take control of their business and their market, and the goal of this program is to allow you to be a master of overcoming objections, closing for appointments, and following up on your leads so you can set appointments. So if you were at family reunion this year, and thank you, by the way, for everyone who responded. I'd love to see the interaction here. If you were at family reunion this year, Gary Keller said that the single most important thing you have to do in your business to grow your business and to be productive and profitable is lead generation. Not only that, Gary said you have to learn lead generation from at least three sources. And then he said, learn the rest as you go. And this makes perfect sense for me because think about it. Figuring out how you're going to handle the business that you have when you don't have the business yet. You're getting yourself ahead of what is required right now. The single most important goal that you have is to master lead generation and learn lead generation from at least three sources. Now, write this down. One of those sources, no questions about it, is your database, your MET database of past clients and sphere of influence. So write that down. And what are going to be the other two sources? You have a lot of options of what to focus on those two sources. And I would like to propose to you today that the single best sources of immediate business for you, even if you resist this conversation a little bit initially, single best source of immediate business are for sale by owners and expired listings. And these two sources can bring you a tremendous amount of listings, which for those of you, I'm sure you've read MREA, you understand the triangle from MREA. This business needs to be focused on leads that lead to listings, seller listings taken. And then when you have enough of those leads that are generating listings, you get some leverage. And again, the single best source of immediate listings are FSBOs and expireds. They are low-hanging fruit. And if you resist calling FSBOs and expireds consistently, I know it's a skills issue. There's some systems involved, and also when you have the tools and when you know what to say, you know exactly what to say. You know what the best opening line is or opening lines. How do I start this conversation? How do I get them engaged? How can I close for appointments? These are all skills that are they're learned skills, I would say, right? And so in order to dominate your market, and I know you actually joined this webinar today because you have an intention to take control of your business, to be able to dominate your market. And how you do that is by being a powerful listing agent. Listing agents, they control their business and they control their time and they control the market. And that's what we call in bold a life by design. I'm a bold coach, so I got to throw in a little bit of bold, right? And when you think about it, in order to be a great listing agent, you have to generate listings obviously on a regular basis. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. The thing is, okay, so let's do this. Um, Raise your hand for me so I can see if you could hear me because I know somehow we lost connection here a little bit and you're all muted. So, Jasmine, are you on the line? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm on the line.
Okay, good. I think I lost you guys for a little bit. Did I?
Yeah, it was like a couple seconds, sounds like.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So let me go back to the slide that I was on. In order to be a great listing agent, you have to have a continuous source of leads that are generating listings for you. And in order to take listings, obviously you have to go on listing appointments. You don't take listings without going on appointments. You don't go on appointments without setting those appointments. And you're not going to be setting listing appointments unless you're lead generating and you're focusing on the seller side of the business. And again, I propose to you today that we make those additional sources, in addition to your database, we make those FSBOs and expireds. Listing agents are the ones who control and dominate their market. And I want you to write this down. This is a critical mindset. The only purpose of lead generation is to set listing appointments. And I know this seems obvious, and at the same time, I imagine that every single one of you on this call, you have a goal for a certain number of contacts that you make per day or a certain number of hours that you lead generate per day. And here's the great thing about this. If you're focused on setting appointments, when you get on the phone or you go door knocking, every single contact you make, the goal is to set an appointment. Because if you're lead generating to make contacts, guess what? You're going to get a lot of contacts. If you're lead generating with the mindset that you're going to end up with a lot of leads, you'll end up with a lot of leads. So this is critical. You know, if you've taken Bold, and I trust that most of you have, if not, you're signed up for the next launch of Bold in 2 weeks, 90% of success is mindset. Be very careful what you focus on. The only purpose of every single contact you make is to set an appointment. And I already mentioned this, so I'm going to go quickly through this slide. Single best source of immediate business. This is what we call high impact calls because you are talking to people that you already know want to sell their property. And it doesn't matter if you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. FSBOs and expireds are available in every market. In fact, they're such high impact calls and sources of immediate business that 50% of all expired listings relist their property within 48 hours. 48 hours after they come up as an expired. And so since obviously a huge percentage of them are relisting the property right away, it is critically important that you are aggressive in making sure that you can speak with these expired listings the day they expired, not 2 or 3 days later or a week or 2 weeks later. That now we're talking about old expireds. If it's not the day they expire, yes, old expireds are a great source of business too, which is fine. You should focus on old expireds. And yet, let's not forget the quick ones, the day they expire. And think about this. For sale by owners now, 80% of FSBOs list their properties with an agent within 3 weeks of starting as a FSBO. Very shortly after they start selling as a FSBO, they start to realize that this is not as easy as I thought. And the best part about it is, since the only goal of lead generation is to look for people who want to buy and sell, and every FSBO wants to sell and don't have an agent yet, there is just no better source of immediate business than FSBOs. In fact, Diana, the author of Bold, she says FSBOs are the fastest source of business opportunity. The challenge is that when you first talk to a FISBO, they tell you they're not in a hurry. They sound completely unmotivated. I'm not in a hurry. I've sold on my own before. They sound very, very confident. And one of two things will happen on these FISBO calls. Either you will convince them to set an appointment with you and hear how you can be of benefit to them in this transaction, or they will convince you that they got it all figured out and they don't need your help. In essence, someone is always selling someone something. Please write this down, and then we'll go to the slide that's in front of you now. Someone is always selling someone something. And on every FISBO call that you make, since they all have their house for sale, one of two things will happen. Either you will sell them on giving you 20, 30 minutes of their time so you can show the value that you can bring to the sale of the property, or they will sell you on why they don't need you. Those are the only two options. Okay? So think about that. Don't let them out-script you. And in Dominate Your Market, you're going to learn all of the scripts so you're never out-scripted by a FISBO again. And expireds as well. Now, expireds, FISBOs and expireds, there are a lot of skills, absolutely a lot of skills, including handling objections over the phone or when you're door knocking. And it's the same process. Some of the words are a little bit different, and I'm going to give you some dialogues in a minute. It's coming up on a few slides down. And at the same time, the process of overcoming the objections and setting appointments is the same for both of them. The difference is that new expireds, meaning new, they're only new the day they expire. New expireds will hang up on you a lot faster than a FISBO will. Okay, FISBOs will keep you on the phone. They will offer to pay you a commission. They will invite you to the open house. They'll ask if you have a buyer. Expireds, again, they are easier for you to get an appointment with, go on and take a listing today than FISBOs are. They're just more challenging to engage in conversation right in the beginning of this contact. And the single most important skill that you want to master in order to engage them in conversation quickly is the skill of mirroring and matching. In Bold, we actually teach you mirroring and matching on the very first day of Bold. And in Dominate Your Market, we're going to focus on that. And also we're going to give you the theoretical side of mirroring and matching. And if you've taken Bold, you could go back and review your First Step to Bold materials, and you'll know what this is about. Not only do we give you the theory behind it, the how to do it. Dominate Your Market will have live role plays that I will be doing with any of you who volunteer to be the FISBO or the expired. So you can learn by hearing me actually do it. And all these calls are going to be recorded, so you're going to hear it again. You can hear it again and again as many times as it's necessary for you to start mastering these skills. Expired listings, you have to speak confidently. You have to speak with authority and have high energy. Now, does this apply to FISBOs as well? Does this apply to every lead generation call you make or door knocking or appointments you go on? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I believe that motivated sellers are looking for an aggressive agent. And an aggressive agent, they sound confident. They speak confident. They speak with authority, and they have high energy. Why is high energy so important? Please write this down. People make decisions when they're excited about the future. And in order for them to be or to get excited about the future, meaning what you can do for them in the sale of the property, you have to be excited about what you can do for them. If you're not excited, you're not going to get them excited. So these are critical pieces here in order to engage them in conversation. Now, for sale by owners. For sale by owners, they don't want an agent. They don't think they need an agent. Many of them don't like agents, might have had a bad experience with a real estate agent. And then you call. So initially, they're going to sound like not interested at all. I got this. If you have a buyer, bring him by. And the truth is, and I already mentioned to you, 80% of FSBOs list their property within 3 weeks. FSBOs will list their property with the first agent who can show them there is value in paying a commission. The number one reason why they're selling on their own is to save money. If they didn't believe they could save money, they would have hired an agent to begin with. So the main piece here is the value. And how do you bring value? I want you to write this down real quick, okay? And then I'm going to give you a piece of information that's not on any slide today, so you need to be ready to take some notes. How you overcome their objections, FSBOs and expireds, over the phone or at the door. First, you listen intently. Then you repeat and approve whatever they say. You ask a question to get their attention. And then you ask for the appointment at least 5 times. I'm going to give you some questions to get their attention. Notice that in these 4 steps, handling the objection is not included. You do not handle FSBO and expired objections over the phone. They're going to give you objections. I'm going to relist with the same agent. I'm not selling anymore. I don't want to pay a commission. Bring me a buyer. I'll pay you your commission. They're going to give you, or I have a friend in real estate, whatever it is. They're going to give you a lot of objections. You don't handle them over the phone with a rare exception. I would say 99% of the time, you don't have to handle the objection. This is the objections. This is how you overcome them. This is how you diffuse them over the phone, okay? Here are some FSBO closes. This is a lot of writing for you, so please go ahead and take a picture of it so you can rewrite this later. These are some of the questions to get their attention. Notice they're all questions. There's a question mark at the end of all of them. And then after you ask the question, you close for the appointment. The close is only in the very first one that you see. And yet, after every question, you ask for the appointment. This is theoretical stuff. We're not role-playing on today's webinar. We're going to be role-playing in the program, okay? And if you apply what I'm giving you here today, you are going to set FSBO and expired appointments. Here are some questions to get their attention or some statements that will get their attention for expired. So go ahead and take a picture of that as well. Yeah. And now, in regards to for sale by owners, I want you to write this down. FSBOs have problems. FSBOs have problems. They just don't know they have them. And how you bring value to a FSBO, how you show value to a for sale by owner, is by helping them understand that they have problems and you can solve those problems. So let me give you a list of problems. And again, in Dominate Your Market, because obviously we're going to have 12 one-hour calls, you're going to learn the entire presentation. On the phone with a FSBO, you're setting appointments. And when you get to the appointment, that's when you're going to show value. So I'm going to give you this real quick so you have a little more information out of today's webinar. List of problems that FSBOs have. Number one, a lack of exposure. Please write that down. Second problem, they're dealing with bargain hunters. Third problem, unqualified buyers. Number four, no negotiating skills. Number five, legal liability. And number six, I'm changing this date here, guys. Hang on one second. I need to update. The start date is the 29th. It's not the 8th, so I don't want to get you confused. So I think I was in legal liability, and the last one is security. So look at that list of problems. Lack of exposure, bargain hunters, unqualified buyers, no negotiating skills, legal liability, and security. Now, type it in for me, okay? I want to see your response in the answer box. Do you believe that these problems cost for sale by owners money? Type it in. I'd like to see you. Yes, absolutely, right? These problems absolutely cost them money. Some of you putting exclamation marks. No question about it. Now, type your answer in again for me. Can you solve these problems for them? Can you? Maybe you need some help in how you solve the problems. Yes, absolutely. So here's that missing piece on how you bring value to FSBOs, okay? They have problems, and you can solve these problems for them. That's how you net them more money, because these problems cost them money. By solving the problems, you're able to net more money and bring them value in this transaction. And in Dominate Your Market, what I'm going to give you 100% of every single, the best scripts and dialogues and stats that you're going to use, and everything you need to show up to a FSBO appointment and overwhelm them with information. So it would be literally impossible for them not to see the value when you do this presentation correctly. And you're going to learn everything you need and every tool you need in order to go on these appointments and get a signature. And most of them are going to happen on the very first appointment. You're not going to need to go to following up and following up. You're going on these appointments to show value, to learn a powerful FSBO presentation so you can get listing agreements signed. And that is the goal of the FSBO, the FSBO over the phone, the call or the door knock, is getting in the door, not to preview, not to see if you have a buyer, to get in the door so you can talk about how you bring value. That's the only thing you have to do with it. There's no other conversation that matter. They're selling the home to save the commission because they don't see why they should pay an agent to do something they think they can do. They don't know what they don't know. The problems, we know they have them. They don't know they have them. They think they got it all figured out. And that's the missing piece to converting FSBO contacts into listings for you. So now what I would like is, if you have any questions, I would like to take a few minutes now and answer any questions you may have. So if you would please type in your questions in the question box, and we'll see what you got and help you with it. Somebody wrote down also a lack of familiarity with the contracts. Absolutely. And that's part of not having negotiating skills. Not understanding all the legal aspects, not only how to negotiate the highest price and best terms for them, and how to manage all of the paperwork the contract, and all of the disclosures that are required and involved. Okay? So how do you register for the class? Great question. Because you've registered for this webinar, Jasmine, she's still here and she was here in the beginning of the webinar, she's going to send you a link to register. Now, to register right now, all you have to do is go to mapscoaching.com, mapscoaching.com, and I'm going to add that to the slide later on. Too late now. I'm not going to be typing it in. mapscoaching.com. Click on coaching programs, and then you go to group. This is a group program. And you find Dominate Your Market on the list of group programs, and you can register right there. We start this Friday, and you will have 12 one-hour calls. So this is roughly a 3-month program, 12 one-hour calls, 12 one-hour weekly calls, and the total cost for the entire 3-month program is $396, and I believe this coupon code will still work for them, right, Jasmine?
Yes, that code is still valid.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you could actually, you type in this coupon code on the registration form, and you'll be able to get 15% off, which amounts to $60. So the entire program is going to cost you under $340. And you're going to get tremendous value. The information you will learn here will make you a lot of money with FSBOs and expireds when you apply it. And not only that, for those of you who've taken Dominate Your Market before, if anyone listening has, the entire content has been updated, and you see 3 new call topics there as well. So those are going to be invaluable to you, these call topics, on not only on the FSBO and expired calls and appointments for your business in general. Okay? So how does one set a listing appointment with a FSBO if one doesn't handle objections over the phone? Great question. Here's how you do it. They give you an objection. You listen to what they're saying. Bring me a buyer, I'll pay you a commission. You're listening, and then you repeat and approve. Great. So what I hear you saying is you're willing to cooperate with an agent if we happen to have a buyer for your property. Is that correct? And that's just repeating and approving. They're going to say, yes, that's correct. And then you ask, let's say, the first question right here to get their attention and close for the appointment. Now, after you repeat and approve, never use the word but, okay? So I hear, so basically you're willing to pay a commission if I find a buyer. I appreciate the offer. I will keep your home in mind. And let me ask you, if there was a financial benefit for you to list with me instead of selling the house on your own, would you consider it? That's what you do. You ask that question to get their attention. And they may watch. What are they going to say? They may say, well, how can you do that? That's a great question. And that's exactly why I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes. Are you available today at 3 o'clock? Would 4 be better? So what did I do? By the way, they could just say yes. You could ask the question and they could simply say yes. And now you got yourself an appointment. If they ask you, how can you do that? That's just another objection. You listen, you repeat and approve, you ask for the appointment. That's how you go around and around. And it's not going to sound repetitive at all because you're listening to what they're saying. You're repeating the objection. And then you're asking a question that's going to get them intrigued enough, okay, to say yes to meeting with you for 20 minutes. Someone asked, does the $395 include the 15% off? No, it does not. That's the full price of the program. So with the 15% off, it's going to end up costing you under $340. What if they ask you not to call anymore? Is there an objection or invitation to learn more another way? I'm a little bit confused about the question. Um, if they say don't call anymore, is there a way? Okay, so I don't understand the second part of the question. What do you do when they say don't call me anymore? I mean, the goal is to avoid that objection by being able to engage them in conversation from the first line out of your mouth, the opening line, which in Dominate Your Market will give you a few, for expireds, a few different options of opening lines. You learn them in bold for both FSBOs and expires. We're just going to give you some additional options. The goal is to make that first line out of your mouth and your ability to mirror and match powerful, so that you don't end up with don't call me anymore, I'm not interested, and having them hang up on you very, very quickly. That is the goal, and that requires skills that you're going to learn what those skills are, and in Dominate Your Market, you're going to learn how to master those skills so you could actually get the results that you're looking to get. Okay. I don't know if there are any other questions right now. Let me see. Somebody asked, so at the appointment, how do you demonstrate that you can save them money? No, that's I understand the context of the question, and that's you're not gonna show them how you save them money. You're gonna show them how you're going to be able to bring value and, in essence, stop them from losing money. Okay? So it's not necessary, you're going to stop them from losing money by solving the problems that cost them money. And again, the challenge you have is that they don't know they have any problems. So when you're talking to a FSBO for the first time and they say, I'm selling it myself, I sold on my own before, I don't need an agent, I don't want to pay a commission, there's no until your goal is to just get in the door to talk to them about how you can benefit them financially, because until they understand that they have problems, they have no reason to meet with you. They don't want to hear anything because they think that they can do the same thing that an agent can do. So it's not about, yes, you're going to save them money by solving the problems that will cost them money. That's the conversation. That is the goal of the appointment. And the goal of the call or contact is to set the appointment to have that conversation in person. This is not an easy conversation to have over the phone because, again, they don't know they have problems. So no matter what you say over the phone, they're simply not interested. Okay? And this is why, if you've taken Bold, in step 3 of Bold, Diana says, FSBO presentations, listing presentations to a FSBO, they are different than your normal listing presentation, because before you can do a listing presentation for sale by owner, you have to do a problem presentation first. Otherwise, there's no point in discussing going over a CMA or talking about their motivation to sell, because they're going to sell on their own. So it's one appointment. It starts with a problem presentation, and then you go into the listing presentation. And I think that's a wrap. Jasmine, is there anything that you want to add in terms of just sharing with them how you're going to, what information you're going to be emailing if they have any other questions, where to contact again?
Yeah, so thank you all so much for joining us today. You will receive an email with the copy to the recording and a link to find out more about the program or register. Sure, if you're interested. So be on the lookout for that. If you have any other questions, you can email us at fasttrack@kw.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you again so much, everyone. I trust that you got some value and information you can use right away from today. And I look forward to having you guys dominate your market starting Friday. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Jasmine. Bye-bye.